dental marketing over the last few years, it has evolved a lot.
But why do you think in dentistry specifically, why there's still so much potential?
They think they can do the job, but they're actually really terrible at that.
What digital platforms do you think are really important for dentists to have?
There are good trends and then there are bad trends. Not every viral content is something that you have to replicate and do it for your brand.
Hi everyone, this is Ashna Zubair and welcome to the 7th episode of the Smile Lounge. With me here today, I've got Qasim Javed, who's the head of marketing and branding at ClearPath Orthodontics. Not only that, but he's been in the field of marketing for the past 18 years and has worked with 30 plus companies all over the world. So welcome Qasim, how are you today?
Good, thank you so much. I'm very excited to be here.
Right, now let's just get into it. So really excited to understand your insights in the dental marketing world and why it's so important today.
There are many aspects, or there are many ways to answer this question. There's like no specific answer, but dental marketing over the last few years, it has evolved a lot, right? So, I mean, I have been working in multiple regions with multiple companies, companies who have been in the B2B business, in the B2C business, but specifically with regards to dental marketing, I think this is a field which still has a lot of potential to offer. I see lots of brands coming up in Pakistan who are now trying to compete to get the best clients out there, and doctors are becoming increasingly more aware of how to use digital marketing to their advantage, and I think it positions us very nicely in at this time in the world where we can feel that this is something which is still evolving, and they're like with the new advancements happening in the field of marketing, this is definitely getting a lot of boost from all aspects, and the future looks promising, to be honest, and I think there's still a lot of potential. Lots of untapped potential in the Pakistan market, especially the US and all the other markets like Australia's and UK's and MENA. They're already there. But I think Pakistan is catching up fast, especially with the use of AI, in digital marketing. So I think there's lots of potential, and there's a lot to be learned and applied in real world.
Right, so you talk about untapped potential, but why do you think that? I mean, marketing and branding, I mean, everyone knows about it worldwide now. You've got influencers, you've got companies who know that they thrive on marketing and this is the way forward. But why do you think in dentistry specifically, why is it something that why there's still so much potential there?
See, in the dentistry world, or in the field of modern orthodontics, the field that we belong to, the focus has been primarily on how to improve or fix patient problems, right? I mean, orthodontists or dentists in Pakistan, they haven't really ever focused on improving their outlook. What by that I mean is, their digital footprint, having a website, having all the omni-channel strategies put in place, because of the fact that they have been extremely occupied while serving the patients, and they haven't ideally had the time or the cost advantage of using modern digital marketing tools to their advantage. Now, over the years, especially in the last few, where the field of social media has kind of kicked off with the use of AI, there is now a lot of time advantage and cost benefits that doctors can thrive, and they can just build on that and improve their digital footprint. So yeah, it's looking positive. I see a lot of dentists that we work with in Pakistan, which are like, ClearPath works with over 3,000 plus dentistry practices all
That's
across
interesting.
all across the country, and we are continuously expanding more, and
Right.
the more we talk to them, the more we meet them on conferences, the more we interact with them, we figure out that there is a lot of potential. And the doctors are learning fast. Like all the new and upcoming doctors, they are very tech savvy. They're using mobile phones. They're using new gadgets to their advantage. And slowly, gradually, all the other practices, which are now more established, they're also getting into the habit of using these tools
Yeah.
and improving their digital marketing footprint, because they have realized that this is a potential area which they can use to not only build better brand presence, but also get in new patients through the door.
Yeah, that's quite interesting actually. When I think of a doctor, I don't really think of them making videos or reels or having, their phone in their hands. But I think that is what the new age of marketing is all about.
Absolutely.
They not only have just their little instruments
Yeah.
for, fillings and all of that, but they need to have the knowledge for how to use your gadgets and how to use, social media and technology. I think this is the way forward. You're completely right.
Absolutely.
Okay, so just following up from what you were talking about right now, what do you think makes digital marketing different from traditional marketing that we've been doing in the past?
This is a very interesting question, and a lot of brands actually struggle with this. Brands in Pakistan have largely relied on traditional marketing strategies over the many, many years. You see all the top brands in Pakistan. The digital marketing is something that has, kind of become the main core focus of a lot of brands in the last 5 to 10 years. And that's primarily because of multiple reasons, but I'll name a few. So the cost advantage, it's cheaper to do digital marketing. You can start from a very small budget, whichever budgets you can afford, you can start with that. Also, it gives better ROI. So by that I mean is, you can easily see results immediately. If you're doing a very nicely designed campaign, which has all the ends closed, you can track, measure, gauge, and then improve your campaigns. So there's very good ROI on that. And the other element is everything that you're doing on digital is highly traceable. There's like no gray areas. For example, compare that to traditional marketing where, you would do billboards, you would do outdoor campaigns. A brand wouldn't exactly know how much revenue are they generating from that specific campaign. Now, that's the biggest disadvantage, I would say, of doing traditional or outdoor advertisements.
It's not quantifiable, is it?
It's not quantifiable. It's only for brand presence. It's only for brand building. And companies who typically, companies in Pakistan still do it because they have to have marketing budgets. They need to be out there. They need to compete with their competitors. So they have to do that. But compare that to digital marketing, most businesses in Pakistan, according to my estimates, they are about 70 to 80% now reliant on digital sales. You see all these new clothing brands coming up. They are now all based on digital marketing. Most businesses now start with a digital shop. And then later on, when they become successful, they would then open a traditional store, right? So most businesses have now been, they now prefer the digital side of things
Which
because
is
this,
such a different way of doing it.
yeah.
Because before they would open up a shop and then they'd start to market it,
See,
right?
opening up a shop and opening up your outlet is cost prohibitive now, right? It's become extremely expensive. There are hundreds of costs associated with it. There's like a fixed cost, and then it takes years to reach your break-even point, right? So, what happens in digital is, you spend X amount of money, you get instant results, or at least you get the learning of how to improve your results, right? So, in a few months' time, you can actually turn over whatever you're spending on your digital into profit, and then obviously into, it comes through sales. So, it has become a hugely profitable model, and I see lots of brands, new and upcoming, now shifting to digital. So yeah,
That's really interesting, actually. I feel like through that, you can also learn where your brand is going,
absolutely,
you know?
absolutely, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that was really interesting. And if we connect this to the field of dentistry, I mean, how does a dentist, rather than just selling their treatments, how would they actually build trust with their patients through digital marketing, would you say?
A very interesting question. So, what typically happens is, for the past many years, doctors over the world, and especially dentists over the world, and more specifically with regards to Pakistan, they have been, like I said, too busy on the patients, right, and fixing the patient's problems. They have had very less time to focus on improving their brand or their presence or their online footfall. The modern digital marketing tools or the social media tools have now allowed them a better brand building opportunity.
Right.
And instead of just focusing on driving in new patients through the word of mouth or through referrals or by just doing, patients, right? By treating more patients, by giving good quality services, what they can now do is they can use social media marketing or any form of digital marketing to improve their brand presence, build better trust, get more Google reviews coming in, try and get more weightage behind the brand, right? And when you really focus on brand building, it just, everything else is kind of falls in place, right? So you start getting better patients, you start getting more visibility, and it all like, digital marketing is like, it's not a one fixed tool for everyone, right? So you have to really pick and choose what you really want to focus on, what tools are working out for you, what tools make the most sense for you. And then based on that, you can obviously expand or reduce your digital marketing footfall. And all of those combine then to improve your overall brand presence. So yeah, that's how.
Okay, so, I think nowadays it's not just about a treatment, right? It's about the experience that you actually have at wherever you go, whether that's, a shop,
Mm.
whether it's a hospital or, like you said, in a clinic. I mean, it's the experience that a patient actually receives from their doctor or the environment, which then kind of builds on their trust.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I mean, from the moment a patient walks into the clinic, the experience begins, right? The way he's greeted by the front desk, the way he's set up, the way a patient is waiting, the waiting lounge, the ambience, the location, how comfortable are even the chairs, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they all add to the experience. And then how long a patient has to wait before his or her appointment. I typically go to, I generally am a person who, runs away from dentist. I don't prefer
Wait,
dentist. Gives me traumas from all my childhood. But every time I now have to visit a dentist, I keep these things in mind, right? I mean, I want to see if I had an appointment at, let's say, 4 p.m., whether I was taken up by the doctor at 4 p.m. sharp or whether he was running in late or not. So all these things, what I'm trying to say is they combine for the patient experience, right? So if I'm walking into a clinic, I don't mind waiting another 15-20 minutes. But if I'm treated nicely, if I'm offered a coffee in between, if I'm offered water or tea or anything like that, I know the fact that, the team at the clinic cares for me. And then, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
They knew my appointment. They remembered the initial survey that they did with me, the initial form that I submitted. So if they remember all those details, it becomes a more personalized experience. And then I am more likely to recommend this to my friends and family and obviously come back at the clinic again. So all of these things then combine to, improve patient experiences. And then if I'm a happy patient, I would definitely go to the clinic's social media platforms, or whether that's Google reviews, I will definitely leave them a review,
Yeah.
a good and positive one. But if, for example, I am not treated nicely, or if I was made to wait without any reason or without any justification, my experience benchmark is going to go down. And I am,
Yeah.
obviously going to be
A good
disappointed.
experience makes you a returning customer,
Absolutely.
right? Or
Absolutely.
the way they actually interact with you is actually also part of marketing, isn't
Yeah,
it? Then
absolutely.
it kind of
100%.
makes the entire experience really great for them. Apart from just a returning patient, how would you say a dentist could actually measure whether marketing is working for them or not?
So, I mean, there are many ways to answer this question, but the most common one is whatever your marketing budget is, you would then calculate the ROI by just looking at the number of patients that are walking in through the door. So, for example, and patients who are not your referrals. So, for example, you're getting 100 patients in a month, or you're treating 100 patients in a month. Out of those, you could typically do a survey because, patients are physically there. You can ask them if they are coming by word of mouth, referrals, or there are any previous patients, and what percentage of those patients are your non-returning patients, right? So any non-returning patients, you can then very clearly ask them, or take feedback forms or surveys, which will tell you whether they saw your advert on social media, whether they saw anything on Meta, whether they saw anything on Google. That's one way. The other way of tracking that is whatever your marketing spend is in a month, and whether you're doing it on Meta or Google or any other platform, you can directly check, for example, if you spent like 50,000 or 100,000 a month in PKR value, and you have received about 50 patients because of that. So your ROI comes down to about 2,000 rupees per patient. Say if you were spending 100K every month. So that's how you would typically calculate ROI. But the answer is not straightforward like that. I mean, you would also have to look at how effective your campaigns are running. You have to see the cost per lead that you're getting. You have to see what areas are you targeting, or you have to see what kind of audience is your typical audience. What kind of markets do you want to work in? Like, you have to look at all these metrics. You have to do the targeting really well. You have to understand the cost per lead. You also have to understand how to bring that cost down, because it's not about spending your marketing budget every month. I mean, it's also about optimizing your marketing budget. So if, for example, in a month you've spent about 100K and received about 100 leads, next month, ideally within the same budget, you should be aiming for 150, 200 leads. And you can do that by improving your campaign assets. You can do that by improving your campaign taglines. You can improve that by improving your placements. So there are like many ways to do that. So yeah, that's how it's typically calculated.
Right. But the dentist itself should then know how to kind of measure that, right? That they need to learn these tactics to actually
I mean,
understand.
yeah, that's true. And I would assume that a lot of dentists don't have that kind of time, right? So what they can typically do is, I mean, all these tools that are available out there, AI has been the biggest factor which has enabled all these tools to be now more user friendly, right? So while Meta's advanced platforms, they are not very straightforward to use, and it does require some training. You can always AI, you can always chat GPT something, you can always ask Google, you can always use Bing, Gemini.
It's just the way to go now.
Absolutely. I mean, just put in your campaign objectives. You can just, you put in a command like, I have a budget of this much. How would an ideal campaign look like? And then ChatGPT is going to give you a detailed breakdown of not just your headline, your assets, your hashtag suggestions, but also it will create like multiple variations of your campaign, right? So AI has solved, I mean, I wouldn't say 100%, but a good 70-80% of your jobs. All you have to do is just copy paste stuff from there, put it into your Meta platforms, and then try and see which works better, right? And most of the times it is okay. And with all the new GPT versions coming out now, we are at 5.1 these days. They are becoming smarter and smarter by the day. So just ask ChatGPT, and if you can't do that and you still want to invest in marketing, there are hundreds of marketing companies out there, but they will be happy to take your money and not bring you the results, right? So you have to be very careful in selecting what kind of services are you going to outsource or you want to hand over to somebody else. Just be careful, don't waste your money. Not a lot of companies in Pakistan which are doing digital marketing for dentists know what they're doing. And I might get a lot of hate for this, but they think they can do the job, but they're actually really terrible at wasting budget.
So, I mean, ChatGPT is the way to go.
Absolutely.
So, all dentists listening to this, that's a really good tip. Go jump onto ChatGPT and ask them all the questions you need for your dental marketing right now. That's true. What digital platforms do you think are really important for dentists to have? And then how would you link that to AI? I mean, how is it changing dental marketing in that regard?
While in the digital marketing world, there are like many facets to it, like the whole 9 yards. If you go, you would ideally start from having a website, SEO, you do social media marketing, you do some kind of paid marketing, influencer marketing, and then there's like a whole, other bunch of stuff that, you can do. But while I understand that, it's not like easily doable. It requires a lot of time and money. And that's something that doctors don't have the luxury of spending on marketing, right? So these days, I think the best way to go about this is to have a website. I mean, that's the minimum you can do for your clinic, because any patient and every patient who's searching for a dentist near me on Google
Yeah.
or anything, on the search results, they are you're going to use Google, right? So having a website is going to give you a lot of weightage. It's going to give your brand a huge uplift, and all the social indices that Google looks at. Website is the number one priority still, right? So that's a given. In addition to that, you must have a Instagram page, and if you can link that to Facebook, that's amazing. While the ideal audience on both platforms is massively different. Instagram is more Gen Z content. Facebook is more millennial based. But you can really decide what kind of audience are you serving to, and then you can link it like that. If you want to cater to all kinds of audiences, sure, you can do both. And then something that I now see a lot of doctors doing in Pakistan is LinkedIn marketing. It's very important to build a brand that's on LinkedIn, which allows you to not only connect with your peers and your friends and colleagues from your batch, but also your potential customers. Like your customers are now corporate customers as well. A lot of companies are now doing partnerships with all dental clinics and different dental associations which are working in Pakistan. So it's important to have a LinkedIn presence, as a voice of the brand. It can be done by the CEO of the clinic. It can be done by any authority figure, anybody who wants to do that or become the face of the company. They must do that. And then you have all the other stuff that you can look at. It can involve your paid budgets. It can involve some influencer marketing. Again, really depends on how much budget you want to spend, but that's like the absolute minimum you should do. And everything else is then cherry on top. So whatever you can.
And I always find myself looking at an Instagram page before I go anywhere, whether that's, I mean, the dentist or a hairdresser, anywhere I go, I'm first, I'm just searching that place on Instagram. I'm looking at the vibe. I'm looking at what experience I'm going to get. And then I'm there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's eliminated.
Yeah, that's how that's what.
Okay, so how would you link that to AI? I mean, how are things changing for digital marketing?
Like I said in the previous question as well, AI has really made it easier for doctors and dentists basically to improve their branding, improve their social media presence, and improve the frequency as well, right? I mean, it helps you with so many stuff, like not just designing campaigns, but also improving how and what you're posting, right? So it helps you with multiple taglines, multiple captions, for all kinds of platforms. Ideally, you should be doing this, practice where, if you want to do a campaign for any patient, you can do customized messages or customized greetings. through AI. And you can just put in a simple prompt like help me design a campaign. The campaign can be about the upcoming December campaigns, for example,
Yeah.
for Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And it will give you three different variations of, captions, hit hashtags, and even it can now give you visual reference guides as well. So what you can do is you can just put all of that within your designing tools like Canva, which also now supports AI, right? So Canva has improved massively in the last year or so. And you can just copy paste those commands, put it into Canva, get all the stuff that you wanted to do, get it designed, and just use that on social media. Now, you don't have a reason not to post frequently. You don't have a reason not to do social media marketing because it's all out there. And the most easiest version of AI is now even free. I mean, you can use ChatGPT without even signing in.
Right.
And even if you sign in, you can still store some chats. You can still build a brand around it. And it does have a cap while you know how many searches you can do, but it is still very, very efficient. A lot of people are now using the free version. So freemium in the AI has really become the new thing. And businesses all over the world are now using it. So to their advantage.
Yeah, you do make it sound really easy. I mean, you connect everything to ChatGPT or AI and it gives you a solution. But I'm pretty sure there's something in there which, requires a learning curve. I mean, let's talk about prompts. So, in regards to prompts, what I do know is that they do have to be really specific, but I'm sure you can give some better insight onto that.
Absolutely. And that's a mistake a lot of people make these days, right? So people would upload something on ChatGPT and they would say, make me a better version of this.
Yeah.
Now, better is hugely subjective, right?
Right.
ChatGPT doesn't understand the context. It doesn't understand what the task at hand is. It doesn't understand what you're trying to get to.
Right.
So giving specific prompts is absolutely important. Like, I mean, I cannot stress this enough.
Yeah.
ChatGPT is as smart as you can want it to be, right? I mean, if you are I'm sorry to say, but if you're dumb using ChatGPT, the answers are going to be dumber,
Yeah.
right? So if you are being smart about your prompts, and if you can, what you can do is, if you can learn how to do prompts, for example, if I am doing a prompt where it's like, the one example that I gave, make this better versus like, for example, hi, I'm trying to design a post for Facebook. My upcoming campaign is December. Discounts. I'm giving a 20% off. My clinic is in this location. I'm trying to do XYZ. So if you give more context to ChatGPT in your prompts, it is going to give you a more specific answer.
Right.
So that's how this works. I mean, and this works in all AI-based platforms, whether that's ChatGPT, whether that's Gemini, whether that's even Canva AI or any other AI tool that you're using. The more specific your prompts are, the better your results are going to be. It's not really relevant here, but there are now prompt engineers that companies are hiring just basis on the fact that, they learn how to improve or get the maximum out of the tools that they're using. Even in coding, like for example, in IT, this field is becoming more and more important.
Right, Qasim. So considering that you're the king of branding,
No, that's not at all true.
anyway, you've got lots of experience. So I want to ask you, why should dentists build their personal brand and not just their clinic?
See, it's very simple. And it relates to human psychology. People follow people, right? I mean, people don't follow brands as such, right? So, I mean, look at all the top dentists in Pakistan and all around the world. People will follow other dentists. People will follow similar human beings, right? I mean, it's just as simple as that. If you do have a personal brand, you would notice that you would get more engagement on your brand compared to your practice page, right? And it's true for every industry, not just the field of dentistry. People are more easily attracted towards other people. So if, for example, I'm following a doctor, I'm interested in knowing what's his routine like, what he does in the morning when he goes to the clinic, what are his nighttime routines like, these kind of things people can relate to.
Yeah.
For-
Relatability, doesn't it?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So that's why while you're building a brand, just don't do it for your clinic, do it for yourself also.
Okay, Qasim, so let's talk about some specific examples that actually dentists have sent us over. They've got some questions, and what we can do is we can do a little post and pass kind of session.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and you're going to tell me if you think it's postable or if it's completely a pass.
Okay.
Right? Okay, so number one is, would you post only static graphics?
No, that's a terrible mistake. So that has to be a pass. And that's because users these days consume more video content than they do static content. And static looks boring, to be honest, right? I mean, it does give you more time to look at the content, but nobody really does that.
Yeah.
If you can hook your audience within the first few seconds of a video, it's always going to be better. So do more video content, and that's how your brand is.
Yeah, that's so true, actually. I can't bother to read long graphic
That's true.
posts. It's just too much.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Second, posting stories every day. How important is it?
That's very important. So that's definitely a post. And you should try and aim to post every once time, like, at least once in 24 hours. And that is to just let the algorithms of different platforms know that you're active
Yeah.
and you're posting regularly. So the platforms will then engage or rate your brand as a high value brand for the audience. And if your audience keeps on engaging it, they keep on seeing your stories at least once a day, it gives them the more opportunities to interact with you. So the next time they want to visit a dentist, they know where to go.
Yeah.
So
You just quickly go look at a story, see
yeah,
if they're still working, if they're alive, if they're open.
absolutely.
Yeah, it works out pretty well. Okay. So number three, EGC content, right? So you'll explain a bit what that is and how important it is.
So let me go a step back. In Pakistan, a lot of companies talk about UGC content, which is user-generated content, right?
Right.
So in the field of dentistry, a lot of clinics are now what they're doing is they're asking their patients to make videos about their clinics, about their brand experience, about everything, and that's called UGC content. But in the last few months, a lot of EGC content has now started coming on the web as well. Now, companies, what they're doing is they're asking their employees to post content about the company and about the experiences, right? So if you have a practice and if you have 3 to 4 doctors working at that practice, it becomes more important for them to be engaged with the same brand too. And that's what EGC is, employee generated content. If you get more employees, more voices out there talking about the same brand, it gives you more weightage, more value, and obviously ranks you better in the algorithms of the social media
They're
platforms.
also really fun to watch, actually.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Next, we've got doing all trends on the internet.
That's highly subjective, right? I mean, they are good trends and then there are bad trends, right?
Right.
Not every viral content is something that you have to replicate and do it for your brand. It just sometimes does not make sense, right? So, for example, any viral content that has a negative connotation, you should try and avoid it. There have been numerous brand fails over the years which have done something which was cringe, which was not in the good taste, and people starting disassociating themselves with the brand. So that kind of comes as a negative value.
Yeah.
So be very careful which viral trend or something that's becoming more friendly or something that people are more watching these days. Be very careful about jumping onto that because it can turn out to be a negative thing for you. But obviously, yes, if it's funny, if it's nice in a humor, and it's something that you think your audience will engage with, definitely go ahead and do it.
Right. And last but not least, patient testimonials.
Absolutely must. So you have to post that. Like I said, user-generated content and employee-generated content are both important. If your patients are talking about you, if they're talking about the experience, if they're talking about your clinic, the ambience, the brand value, and the service that they're getting, there's nothing like it. And,
Right.
and obviously, like I said, patients trust people more. And if your patients are posting about your experience, next time someone has to visit, they will read about the patient experience and then they're more likely to visit your clinic.
Right. So going off from patient testimonials and user generated content, how important are Google reviews for dental clinics?
Oh, very important. I mean, I cannot stress this enough. Google reviews are very closely linked to your presence on Google, right? So if you have a website and if you have made your Google My Business location on Google, it not only makes it easier for your patients to find your location, it also helps you show up in nearby results. So A, that's very important. And B, when you could start collecting Google reviews, your location markers and your website gets more weightage by Google, helping you not only just compete in the nearby areas, but also with big brands, right? So it makes it extremely important for you to have Google reviews. The best way of collecting them is to obviously, once your patient is done with the treatment, make sure that you have a QR code set up. You make it the easier you make it for your patients, the more likely they're going to leave a review on. Whether that's positive, whether that's negative, that's still subjective. It doesn't really matter if you get an average rating of 4.5 out of 5. The more important thing is you're replying to your reviews, you're interacting with the patients on Google, and make sure that you're not getting more 1 stars compared to your 5 stars. So that's very, very important.
Right. And connecting that to smaller clinics competing with bigger clinics in the digital space, how does that work?
See, like I mentioned in the answer that I just gave, smaller clinics can definitely compete with bigger clinics only by improving their digital footfall, right? So what they can do is ideally start focusing more on patient stories, patient testimonials, Google reviews, getting more weightage on their Google markers, having a website, having a good clinical experience. All of these things can combine to lower a patient from a bigger clinic to a smaller one. But that's just not it. I mean, there are many other factors too. Pricing plays a huge important part. And then there are things like, well you're greeted, how well trained your staff is,
Right.
how well the doctors are trained. All of those things will obviously combine to improve or, help you get more patients compared to bigger clinics.
Right. Thank you, Qasim. That was really interesting insight. I think it's really helpful for dentists who maybe are starting up or, want to start and kind of are afraid that bigger clinics are going to be a big competition for them. Okay, Qasim. So as we're approaching to the end of our podcast, what do you think are marketing trends which are relevant for 2026?
AI, I would say, and AI has become so smart already, and I can see it only becoming smarter in the next year. In AI, you would see tasks becoming easier, faster, more cost effective, and then you would have other elements coming to it, and they are already there. Like for example, there are AI agents now which can help you automate your entire routine, which people were would normally take days to do. There are AI agents in coding, there are AI agents in social media posting, there are AI agents in pretty much every field that's out there. So that's going to become very common, and through that, hyper personalization is going to become also very important, which means every platform that you're present on, the content is going to be specially curated for that platform. So,
Right.
for example, any video that you're doing for Instagram does not work on YouTube. And for YouTube that you're doing does not work on Facebook. So by hyper personalization, I mean is every single audience segment that you're targeting gets served the content of their choice, and AI tools are basically going to enable that to a huge extent. So yeah, these are the things to watch out for, and obviously, unless the world goes to an absolute disaster, these are the tools to watch out for in the next year.
Thank you very much, Carson. That was really interesting. And thank you for all your insights when it comes to dental marketing. I think everyone here has learned a lot, not just myself, but all the dentists that are listening.
Thank you so much. I think this was absolutely wonderful. And if you have more questions or anybody else has more questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, everyone, for being here today and tuning into our podcast. I hope you had a lot of fun and learned a lot. I know I did. So subscribe to our channel for our upcoming episodes. We'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.